Hey everyone, I'm super pumped to introduce Locofy and give you guys a quick walkthrough of how it all works. Locofy is an AI-powered developer tool that converts your designs into developer-friendly front-end code in a flash. Our plugin lives within the design tools you already know and love, like Figma and Adobe XD. You can convert your designs into any of the most popular web and mobile frameworks like React, Next.js, HTML, Angular, Vue, Gatsby, and React Native, with more coming very soon. With the generated code, you can export or sync it to GitHub and VS Code. Okay, let's head over to Figma to check out some examples. Over here, we have our design open in Figma. It's a simple design that should look pretty familiar. It's an Airbnb style website with a search bar up here and a grid of cards showing the available accommodations down here. Now let's zoom out and you'll notice that I actually have two versions of this design. On the left over here is a poorly structured version of the design, and on the right is well structured. Although these two designs may look identical, they're actually worlds apart when you look into each layer. The design on the right is well structured because it follows the best design practices like grouping appropriate layers together, applying auto layout to every layer, adding constraints, defining gaps and alignments, avoiding overlapping layers, and contextually naming layers. Locofy is highly dependent on you providing a well-structured design to be able to generate high-quality, developer-friendly code. Very simply put, the more structured your designs, the better quality code you'll get from Locofy. Okay, let's try converting this poorly structured design on the left to code, and let's see what kind of results we get. Okay, Locofy is now done converting my designs into code. I can see a live preview of the generated code. As you can tell, it doesn't match the design. There are white boxes covering the design. There is text partially hidden, and there's some misaligned text in the cards. On top of all that, when I try reducing the width to test the responsiveness, you can see the cards in the grid are not responding well. They're not collapsing and stacking nicely as they should be. So this is a perfect example of what happens when your designs are badly structured. You will not get the desired results. Hence, ensuring your design is well structured is the most important step before using Locofy to convert it into code. We have a separate video where you can check out a step-by-step guide on exactly how to do that. We also have a virtual design workshop where we guide you on how to properly optimize your designs for the best results. You can also earn free LDM tokens by joining the call. You can register for it by logging into your Locofy dashboard. In the meantime, let's continue this demo with a well-structured version of the design. So let's head back to Figma over here, and you'll see that for my well-structured design, I actually have a few more pages. Let's move these pages a bit to the left. Okay, so I have a few more pages over here. You can find this well-structured design on our Figma community profile. I'll add a link to it in the description below. Let's launch the Locofy plugin right now. And I'll quickly walk through the steps on how to create a new project before converting your designs into code. So over here in the dropdown, you're gonna click on Create New. You're gonna name your project over here. Good. Select a team. Over here, you can select what kind of framework you want to convert your designs into. This is obviously a website, so let's select that, and you'll see all the available frameworks over here. Let's select React. In the next step, you can configure your code settings. Right now, it's selecting TypeScript, and for styling, let's go ahead with Tailwind for now, and create project. The third and final step is to connect your component libraries. So if you're working with an existing design system and you have already written the code for your components, you can import that into Locofy and we'll reuse the code you've written. We have a deep dive video on exactly how to do that. I'll add a link in the description below. If you don't have a design system or haven't written the code yet, you can select one of the public UI libraries like Material UI over here. Okay, my project is now created. Looks like we're good to go. I'm gonna start converting this design into code. So let's select the home page over here and select Convert to Code. You'll see that Locofy instantly recognizes that my design is a prototype that's already connected to other frames. It's offering to also convert all the other frames into code and preserve my prototype interactions. So let's go ahead and click on yes. Locofy's AI is built on our own proprietary large design models, which has been trained on millions of designs and products. It's now automatically optimizing my design. It only does this to a limited extent though, so it's always best to do this yourself as much as possible. Our AI is also tagging any interactive elements that it finds, applying responsiveness, renaming layers to make them more contextual, and automatically detecting components and props. This is going to take a minute or two longer, so I'm going to skip ahead and fast forward. Okay, it looks like Locofy is all done with converting my design into code. You can see the generated React code at the bottom panel over here. Let's move this window to the center. You can see all the generated code down here. It's all developer-friendly semantic code, so it's easy to understand and make any changes should you need to. You can also change your code settings by clicking on the icon on the bottom right here. So let's try switching the styling from Tailwind to CSS modules, and you'll see that the code has regenerated on the fly. We're now using CSS modules. So just above all this code is the live preview. Now this isn't the same as a typical prototype. This is a real preview that has been rendered from the code that Locofy generates. Things like text inputs and date pickers are fully interactive and use the MUI components that I initially selected when creating the project. I can also drag these handles on the right to test the responsiveness, and you can see that everything is collapsing and resizing perfectly. And remember, we're able to achieve this perfect responsiveness because we're using a well-structured design. Let's go back to the default viewport and click on the first card. You'll see that it is linked to the subpage, and as I click around the live preview, you'll see that the code panel at the bottom instantly highlights the respective code below. Okay, so we're currently still in the preview mode of the Locofy plugin. This is where we check out the live preview to make sure everything looks good, including the interactions, the layouts, and the responsiveness. Locofy does about 80% of the work for you, but no AI is perfect. There's always going to be some areas where you would need to optimize and edit before pushing your code to production, and that's where the edit mode comes in. On the top right, you'll see a switch to change from preview to edit mode. This is where we can review all the decisions that local AI has made and make any necessary changes. On the left panel over here, you'll see all the decisions categorized. I can click into each one and review every single decision that was made. Let's take a quick look at all the components and props that local AI has created. So on the right panel over here, you can see that I created footer component, hero container, listing item, and search section header. Let's click on the listing item component over here, and you can see that these are all the cards in the grid. Let's click on the pencil icon. And over here, you can see all the props that were automatically detected. You can edit, delete, and add new props as you wish, and the code will instantly regenerate to reflect all the changes. Besides looking at local AI's decisions from a global view, you can also look at it from a single layer point of view. So on the left panel here, I can click on layers, and I can use the panel to select any layer, or use the canvas on the right to select a layer. So let's go ahead and select the date picker over here. And you can see that local AI has automatically tagged this layer as a date and time picker. That's why I was able to interact with it and trigger a date picker to appear when I click on it. Let's go ahead and click on this header over here, find a host for every journey. You can see that Locofy did not tag this. It's the first thing that most people would see and has the biggest font size, so it should be tagged as a H1. So let's go ahead and do that manually. Select tag, search for H1, click on H1. Okay, click on done. And let's take a look at the code to see if it has been reflected. So let's click on that, and you'll see that component now equals to H1. Great. And lastly, just like inspecting an element on your browser, you can also inspect any layer in Locofy and directly edit its CSS. Let's click on the Inspect tab on the left panel, and you'll see on the right panel, this provides you an alternative way to edit the layers. If you're a developer who prefers a more code-first approach, this would be a much faster way for you to get in those styling changes. And we all know AI is imperfect, so Locofy gives you all these tools to make any changes you want to ensure your designs are pixel perfect. That's how powerful and flexible Locofy is. Okay, I think everything looks good. I think we're good to go now. With the sync button on the top right over here, we can either sync our code to the Locofy Builder or directly into a GitHub repo. Let's go ahead with the Locofy Builder for now. Let's sync to Builder. I'll select the frames and sync to Builder. So this process just takes a few seconds. Let's jump ahead to the Locofy Builder. Okay, we're now at the Locofy Builder. This is a separate web app, and this is where all the final pieces of the puzzle come together. If you're collaborating with the rest of your team on a different section of the website, everything is seamlessly merged and collated into the Locofy Builder. In the Builder, you'll have the same live preview on the top over here, and you'll see all the code at the bottom as well. On the top left, you'll see a File Explorer icon. Let's click on that, and you'll see the file structure of the entire project over here. Feel free to move things around, create new folders. The code will instantly regenerate to reflect whatever changes you make. Okay, let's go back and click on View Prototype over here and click on Share Prototype. This is where I can share the live preview as a prototype with various stakeholders or clients to get alignment and buy-in. Okay, I think everything is set. Let's go back. So you'll see this big blue button on the top, sync, export, or deploy. I can sync my code into GitHub, pull it into VS Code, export it as a zip, or deploy it into any one of these options. So that's a quick overview for you. Locofy accelerates your product team and helps you go to market lightning fast. We're super excited for you to try us out and experience Locofy for yourself. We have a bunch of sample projects on our Figma community profile for you to get started. I've added a link to the description below. Be sure to check out the next video in our series where we do a deep dive on how to connect and reuse your existing design system and code components to Locofy. That's all for now. We cannot wait to see what you guys build with Locofy.